Hey guys, it's Sarah, and today we're going to be reflecting on the best beauty purchasing decisions that I made in 2020. So throughout the year, I've been keeping track of every beauty purchase that I have made, and about a month or two ago, I made a video talking about products that I regret spending my budget on. So this is going to kind of be the opposite of that. These are products that I can honestly say, you know what, that was a good choice. I'm glad I bought that product, whether it ended up becoming a holy grail or it was just an all-around smart choice to make that purchase. We're going to be talking about those products today. So hopefully by combining the reflections from the products I regret spending my budget on video and the products that I'm glad I purchased this year, I can kind of take those lessons with me into the new year and hopefully continue to make good choices rather than choices that I regret later on. So starting in January of 2020, I actually bought a lot of things in January, and there were two things that stood out to me as things that I'm really glad I bought. One of them is the e.l.f. Keep Your Curl mascara. That was the first time I purchased that mascara, and I've already used it up, but that is one of my favorite mascaras I've ever tried. And I'm so glad that I took the chance and tried that mascara. I had never heard anyone talking about it before, and I was totally just kind of going into it blindly, not really knowing much about it, but it ended up being one of my favorite mascaras of all time. So that was a great choice. I'm glad I bought that. Another thing from that same e.l.f. order actually that I'm really glad that I decided to try was their Holy Hydration face cream. I now have another one. I thought I wasn't going to repurchase this, and I ended up buying 3 during their Black Friday sale, mainly for my boyfriend because this is like the only moisturizer that he really likes. Also was sort of buying one of them for myself just because my skin's been breaking out and I wanted to see if maybe my skin would respond better to this one compared to the Acure one that I've been trying. So I am really glad that I discovered this at the beginning of this year. It is a fantastic moisturizer. The only thing I don't love about it is that the packaging is very bulky, like unnecessarily, and so I feel like it's a lot of plastic waste, but the product inside is truly one of the best moisturizers I've ever tried, so I am glad that I decided to try this earlier this year. Another product that I'm really glad I decided to purchase in February of this year was the Ceromedics Extra Gentle Cleanser. I have not repurchased that one yet just because I was trying to work through some of my other cleansers, but I do miss it. That is a beautiful, very hydrating cleanser. It's a non-foaming cleanser, so it's super gentle. If you have very dry skin and you feel like all cleansers strip your skin in some way, you have to try that one. It is so good. I am so glad that I purchased that cleanser, and I do miss it very much. It is now called their Extra Gentle Body Cleanser, but it is the same thing. So I do plan to purchase that again in the future whenever I'm in need of a new cleanser, but that was a great purchase. March of this year is when I purchased the Paula's Choice Lip and Body Treatment Balm. I have now used so much of this. This is a really good value. I think full price it's $15. And that is if you're not getting it on sale, which Paula's Choice has sales all the time. But this is just such a basic, no-frills balm. It has no scent or flavor, but it's so protective and so nourishing. This is pretty much the best lip balm that I've tried. I feel like a lot of lip balms just don't do anything other than just kind of sit on your lips and maybe feel moisturizing in the moment, but they're not actually getting in there and nourishing your lips and preventing your lips from getting chapped. I wear this every night to bed, and I really haven't suffered from chapped lips except for the times that I have forgotten to wear this. So very glad I decided to buy that in March of this year. Another thing that I bought in March was the NYX High Glass Face Primer. This has really become a favorite. For a while I wasn't using it just because I had other luminous primers in my collection that I was working through, but now this is the only luminous primer in my collection, and so I've been using it more and I love it. It just has this very subtle reflective quality to it. It's almost like a pearlescent finish, but there's no like shimmer to it at all. It's lightly hydrating, just a beautiful base for underneath makeup. I kind of just randomly bought this. I was ordering their Born to Glow foundation. That was the main thing that I wanted to buy from them, and I just decided to get this so that I could get like free shipping, and I'm very glad that I did. It's kind of expensive at full price, so I would recommend getting it on sale. I think it's like $17, which is a little much, I think, for a drugstore brand, but if you can get this on sale, I do think this is a lovely luminous primer. Very glad I decided to purchase it. This next one was just a good, solid, well thought out choice. This is something that I already knew I loved and I needed to replace it. This is the Pacifica Sun and Lip Care SPF 30 Mineral Lip Balm. This is my favorite SPF lip balm. It doesn't smell or taste like sunscreen, and it doesn't dry out my lips, which is really all I can ask for. And it protects my lips from the sun. It has a nice kind of like sugary scent to it. So this was not a new discovery this year, but it was just a smart purchase in my opinion. I did place a few e.l.f. orders throughout the year, and my second order was in May, and that was when I discovered the Rose Water Bite-Sized Quad. Very glad I chose to buy this. This is only like a $3 quad, but it's just a beautiful kind of soft, everyday, cool, rosy toned quad. I absolutely love this one. I haven't been using it as much lately just because I've been panning my Wet n Wild quad, but I need to pull this back out and make a point to use it some more. I love these kinds of mauvey, rosy eyeshadows, and so this is just a very easy quad for me to work from when I'm just trying to put together a quick everyday look. And the shimmers in here just kind of reflect the light so beautifully. Big fan of that. I will say though it's very fragile. The dark plum shade in here kind of started to crumble and I had to repress it, but other than that, beautiful quality shadows. Another kind of staple repurchase that I made that was also, I think, a smart choice because I already knew I loved it, and it's also quite an inexpensive product, is the e.l.f. Wow Brow Gel. I love this. I use it every day. It's just, I don't know, it's just satisfying to use. I like that it's not too wet of a formula. I can just kind of get the shape that I want with my brows. I can make them a little fluffier if I want to. The tint is just the right depth. It's not too pigmented to where I'm making a mess all over my brow bone, but it still, I feel like, adds something to my brows, so I am a huge fan of this brow gel. This is the second one that I've owned, and I do not regret purchasing it for a second time at all. May was also when I purchased the Versed Guards Up SPF 35, and I have since used that one up, but I love that sunscreen. That was the first time I tried it, and it is it is the best mineral sunscreen that I have tried, and so I'm very glad that I decided to buy that one. This was kind of not really a planned out purchase. It was sort of an impulse purchase that I made at Target one time in June of this year, but this is the Acure Resurfacing Overnight Glycolic Treatment. I love this. This is basically, I kind of look at this as like an overnight mask in a way. I'll use it in place of my moisturizer once a week, but I kind of want to bump that up to twice a week because I really do notice results with this, and I don't think that my skin would mind getting it twice a week. It's very gentle, really hydrating, and I feel like I just wake up with really good looking skin when I use this. So I'm glad I decided to pick this up that one time, and it really got me wanting to try more Acure products. So this is not a makeup or skincare purchase, but it is a hair tool that I do count towards my beauty spending. But I did purchase this flat iron also in May from Conair. This is just a basic 1-inch flat iron. This one is actually quite affordable. I think it's about $20, maybe $25. And it's a really nice flat iron. I use it almost every time I heat style my hair these days because I'm really into curling my hair with a flat iron. That's what I did today. It heats up really quickly. It's very smooth, so it's not like skipping in my hair, you know, it just kind of glides right through. And yeah, just a great quality flat iron for a very affordable price. So I'm glad I decided to save some money and get one that's a little bit cheaper than others because I know flat irons can get very expensive, but I'm glad that I bought this. These next three things are actually things that I bought as part of a collab that I did with my friend Alex in the summer. So these purchases are really due to her recommendations, but I'm very glad that I bought them. This one was the NYX Born to Glow Radiant Concealer. This is now one of my favorite concealers. Really beautiful skin-like finish, very smooth, it doesn't crease really badly. It has high coverage for a more radiant concealer. It doesn't claim to be full coverage, but it still has good coverage. So really loving this one. Very glad that I was influenced to buy it by my friend. Another one from that collab was the e.l.f. Dewy Setting Mist. Love this setting mist. This is my new favorite dewy setting mist. I even like it, I think, a little bit more than the Pixie Glow Mist. I feel like it's a good alternative to that one, and it's about half the price. I almost like it more because it's not quite as oily as the Pixie Glow Mist. I found that I'm not always in the mood for that shiny of a glow mist. This one is definitely dewy, but it's not over the top, borderline greasy. So that was a winner for sure. The spray is a bit aggressive, but it doesn't really bother me. I just kind of hold it farther away from my face, and 1 or 2 spritzes like covers my entire face. And then the third thing from that collab that I'm so glad I bought because I really fell in love with this was the ColourPop Miss Bliss palette. This is one of their 9 pans, and it's a pastel peach and pink palette. I really hadn't gotten much into like cool toned bubblegummy pinks on my eyes. I knew I liked like mauvey and rosy pinks, but I Didn't really have any shades like these yet in my collection. Love those. I always love peachy eyeshadow, so I'm glad to have a palette that's kind of dedicated to peaches and pinks. Definitely very monochromatic, but I never get a look out of this palette that I don't love. Shadows are very easy to work with, very blendable. One of my favorite palettes, honestly. It's definitely one that I think I'll reach into more in the spring and summer. Not so much in the winter. I'm into kind of more dramatic and like jewel tones right now, but definitely will be getting a lot of use out of this in the spring and summer. Another thing I'm very glad I purchased in July was the Jordana Draw the Line lip liner in Rock and Rose, and this has become one of my most worn, no, this is my most worn lip liner in my collection. I don't normally love browns on my lips, but this one I feel like I can pull off because it has more of a rosy pink undertone to it than like an orangey warm brown undertone, so I love this one. It pairs with so many of my nude lipsticks. Actually, today I'm wearing a different lip liner. I'm wearing the Urban Decay Manic lip liner, which I also love, but these are like $3 and they are pretty much my favorite lip liner formula, and they're also the cheapest that I know of. So I also placed my third e.l.f. order of the year in July. This is when I bought actually 2 of their bite-sized face duos. The one that I really am so glad I bought is the shade Cantaloupe, just because this is so different from anything else that I own. It's so fun. I love the pastel orange in here for like a very unique blush. The highlight is also really pretty. I also like the shade Lychee that I got, but I feel like this one is the one that really stands out to me as the one that I feel like was a smart purchase because it is something that I definitely didn't already have in my collection, and I feel like it adds a lot to my blush collection. And August was the last big month of purchases. Once September rolled around, I pretty much stopped buying makeup because I realized I had already spent my entire beauty budget, or almost my entire beauty budget. So one of the things in August that I'm actually really glad I splurged and got was the Dry Bar Triple Sec 3-in-1 Finishing Spray. So this is kind of like a texture spray. I love this. It is pricey. I think it's $26, which pains me a little bit to say. I don't know if it's one that I'm going to continue purchasing over and over again. I definitely view this as kind of a splurge type item. I feel like it was worth the splurge. I actually included this in my high-end products that are worth the investment video, and so I do feel like it was well worth it because it actually motivates me to do my hair. When I have 1 or 2 like nicer, bougier hair products in my routine, it actually pushes me to style my hair, whereas before I like would never style my hair. So I'm glad that I decided to buy it. Although I will say I've been trying the Eva NYC City Grit Matte Texture Spray. That one is similar. I don't love it quite as much as this, but it actually smells very similar, and that is one of the things I love about this is the scent. And it does pretty much the same thing. I like this one a little better just because it feels a little softer in my hair, but in the future I might go for that one if I'm not wanting to spend quite this much on a texture spray. The last makeup thing I bought this year that I'm so glad I purchased was the Oma Beauty Double Take Sculpt and Strobe Duo Stick in the shade White Pearl. I've talked about this so many times that I won't spend too much time on it now, but this is a contour and highlight stick. Love it. Definitely worth the price. I would this actually goes on sale a lot, so if you're interested in it, I would definitely keep your eyes open for it on their website because I got this for I think $15. And it's normally $40. So I would say it's well worth the $40, but if you can get it on sale, why wouldn't you, So beautiful product, so creamy, so blendable. The contour shade is just what I look for in a contour shade. Comes in a lot of other shades as well, but this is the lightest shade, White Pearl. So those are the purchases that were, I think, among my smarter choices. I think that this might only be possible in a perfect world, but if at the end of next year I can look back on all of my beauty purchases and feel the same way about those as I do about these, that would be ideal. That would be great. So hopefully next year there will be more of these and less of products I regret buying. But like I mentioned in that video, I feel like it's almost impossible to never purchase a product that you end up not liking or that you regret. I don't think anybody has 100% perfect judgment every single time that they buy something. And also keep in mind that a lot of these things were placed in the same order as some of the products that I regretted buying. So that's another thing to keep in mind. It's always kind of a mixed bag. But hopefully I can just try to make more of these kind of intentional purchases next year. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I'd love to see you again very soon, and hopefully I'll talk to you tomorrow in my next video. Bye.